Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna go over how to modify a bit more of the 3D stuff. I'm gonna go over the pattern command. I'm gonna go over the mirror command, and we will look into some more stuff if we really feel like it. But for now, we're just gonna do some patterning. So this is just a little piece that I extruded out. So let's make a hole. How do you make a hole? Well, you click the hole wizard and you click where you want the hole. And now you might be getting frustrated thinking, why can't you just hit check and why isn't it green? Well, when you hit the hole command and you select the place, then there's two more things you gotta do. You gotta give the hole two references. It could be one, it could be two, depending on where you place the hole. Because if you place the hole somewhere where it's there's a datum or something, you're gonna only need one more reference because it already has a nice way of locating where it is from one end. But this is this is what it looks like. It's a green square. You can click and drag it, and I'm gonna just select an edge, and then I'm gonna select the second edge, and those two edges right there, from this point to this point and this point to this point. This is what defines the distance. I'm just gonna double click it and you can modify it that way, just like any dimension. It's 25 down, 20 down, 25 from the side. I could have selected the datum plane as well if I wanted to. And again, remember the construction mode method, that's still valid, so we can do that as well. Let's do that. We can sketch things here. Actually, no, that would not be a good idea here right now. Yeah, let's not do that. So let's just make the hole again. Okay. Right. And just there. 25. 25. Okay. So I guess I should mention this too. These are some of the options where you can click and drag the hole through if you want, but as I said, you don't really want to do that. If you're doing engineering, you want to be a bit more precise. But there are options that let you do things. So you can just go all the way up until the next surface, and which is what I'm gonna do. This is what's usually preferred, and I kind of use it. You can mess around with these other options here, like this one if you want to drill in two different directions, things of that nature. Okay. Actually, while I'm at it, let me just explain this in the extrude command. So this is just a standard extrude that I made that I could just switch the directions of, change the dimensions of, and all that stuff. But in this drop down menu right here, I could decide. I want you to pay attention to this datum plane right here and this extrusion. Right now it's only coming out into one side. Watch what happens. So it divides up evenly from that datum plane in each direction in half. So if I do 20, it's going to do 10, 10. And that's it. There's another thing. That's how we made the hole, and that's how you should make holes. But if you're just making a round drilling thing that you want to drill, there's another way to do it, and it's essentially removing materials using the extrusion command. Let's just make a circle here. So like any extrusion, you make a sketch on a plane or on a surface, and then you say extrude. But this time we want to go in that direction, and we're going to select this right here so it goes exactly the distance we want it to go. But this time we're going to do something different. We're going to select this right here, remove material. So since we already have material there and we want to get rid of it, we can just say remove material, and it's going to remove that material. Very standard stuff right here. And then if you want to change the dimensions of this, you can just go back, click the drop down thing. This is a drop down thing, and edit definition, change the size of the hole, change it? Well, apparently I can't change it, so... Oh wait, I can. I probably have the dimensions. There we go. Okay. See? Alright. So this circle is referenced this way, I guess. I'll do this, and then I'll do this. That looks nice enough. Why not? Okay. So that's that. Now we're gonna mess with the pattern command, and this is a really powerful tool, and it's gonna save you a lot of time. You start the pattern command by either just clicking pattern, and I can't click pattern for some reason. All right, so to get into this, you're gonna have to select something that you actually can pattern. So right here on the model tree, you could try to just kind of hover over and select the extrusion, or you could just select the extrusion that's made here, and it's much easier to just click it here and select it, because you can see what's being selected. I like to use the model tree for these kind of things. I click it, then I can just hit pattern, and we enter the pattern environment. So there are a bunch of options here. I'm only gonna go over curve, because I think curve is the most powerful one. Direction is pretty good, and dimension is also pretty good. But let's just go over dimension right now. So we got this pattern command, and then you're gonna see these references again. But this time it's not really references. It's asking you for spacing between the dimensions. So it's gonna pattern this hole in this direction, and I'm gonna say have a gap of, let's say, 50 in between them. And I typed in 50, and it made this dot right here. It's telling me that there's going to be a hole here, and it's kind of weird because the hole's in empty space. So how do we change the direction of that? We can go into dimensions right here. It says dimensions blah blah blah, and then increment. We can do 50, and since we want to go in the other direction, just do negative 50. That's just a thing you're going to have to mess around with. You could get the dimensions direction wrong. Just go back and change the sign, and it'll fix it. And then we want to go down, and we'll do 50 as well. And again, it decided to go the exact opposite of what I wanted. Okay. Oh, I'm still in the same dimension. Oh, nice. Okay, so we can do dimension 2 right here. You remember to do that. I think I overrode the dimension from the horizontal to the vertical. And let's change that to 50. And wow, this is just going the exact opposite of what I wanted to do. Well, okay, so I changed the dimension, and I changed the direction of the dimension by just changing the sign in front of the dimension. And now you can see there's a dot here. That's the original, and it's going to pattern 1, 2, 3, 4 if I hit OK. And it does that. And well, let's just go back. Click on this pattern again. It makes a nice little organized thing. It doesn't just fill the whole model tree with a bunch of pattern parts or extrusions. So edit definition, and the way you control the amount is this little area right here. So we got 2 going left and right. I'm sorry, right and bottom. But we can say 5, and then we can say 5. Is 5 too many in that direction? Yeah, it's too many. Let's do 4. So 5 and 4, we're going to get a pattern that looks like that. So you can imagine making these without the pattern command could be tedious, just inefficient. I wouldn't recommend it. So this is how you make grilled surfaces or things of that nature. And the shape doesn't have to be limited to the circle. You can just make any shape, extrude it in, and then pattern it. And it's not even limited to patterning extrusion cuts. You can have many features that are separate and pattern them in. Just mess around with it. But let's go into different types of patterning. Let me get rid of this. Get rid of that. Okay. So let's go back to the pattern command, and now we're going to do direction. This time we just select the direction by selecting any straight edge. So you can see it highlights this direction, it highlights the surface. I'm going to select this, and look at that. There's an arrow that's showing me it's going to go in this direction. I can just click and drag, or I could just click the arrow here and just flip it. And just select the gap, let's say 20, why not? And I want to do it 4 times. Okay. Now, okay, the hole size was too big and it just made a big thing. I don't know what this is. All right. Well, you get the point. Okay, so let's just edit it. The gap is smaller than the actual hole size itself. All right, so there we go. That looks nicer. Um, let's go back now. That's you know, if you just want to go in one direction, and then you can select these patterns, and we're gonna pattern the pattern. Huh. Okay, so we can do that again by going back to the direction, and now this time we'll select the straight edge that's going down, and see it points down now, and I can say let's make sure we do this right. 50, and we'll do this time 5 of them. It's the same exact pattern with the dimensions, but you know, done differently. So we're using the direction to go this way first and then down. It's not as efficient as dimensions, obviously. Just use whatever works best for you. But now the fun part. This is what I like in the pattern command. Let me just get rid of this stuff. Okay. So now we're gonna. Before we do that, actually, we're gonna make a sketch. Actually, that gave it away. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a sketch, and we're gonna make a line, and we're gonna make the pattern command follow that line. So far the patterns, the 2 pattern options that I've shown you, they've been very linear. Well, what if you wanted a pattern that was a bit more artistic? You know, it had curves that you needed to follow along and have different patterns along those curves. We could do that if we want to. So just start the sketch command and select the surface, make a sketch, and I'm just going to make a spline here, and that's it. So my goal is to use the sketch as a path for this circular hole to just pattern across it. So we're going to do that. Let's click the pattern. Nope, that's not what I want to pattern. Make sure you select the right thing that you want to pattern. And now we're going to select curve. Oh, where did the curve go? Oh no. Okay, so this is a good thing. See, this is hierarchy. So our extrusion happened before the sketch. So if you try to modify the extrusion, like having it patterned, it's not going to show anything that we did afterwards. So this is what I'm about to do is very bad, and don't do it. I'm just showing you, just for showing you how to do it. But this is just a sketch. But never just click and drag things randomly, because that could mess up your entire assembly or parts, and you could have a very bad day. Just make the sketch before you make the extrusion, and that's all I'll say about that. But let's do the pattern again now. So what I did is I made the sketch after the extrusion. I just clicked and dragged it before the extrusion. Again, don't do that just carelessly. Be very careful when you do things like that, because it could create a lot of problems, and Creo creates a lot of problems. All right, creates problems. That is a terrible attempt at a terrible pun. Okay, so let's do curve. Nope, this is again. All right, so we select the extrusion we want to pattern it. Let's do curve. And now we can see that it leaves the sketch on the surface, and we can select it, and look at that. We already know what's going to happen. It looks nice already, doesn't it? And let's have a gap of about 50 in between, and it goes off the surface a little bit, but now you can see it's following that curve path that we had, and it looks nice too. Of course, you can get more creative with it. You can do a lot more stuff with it. I'm not going to try to be that guy. You can have the number of holes that you want. You can reduce it. It looks nicer. If it looks nicer that way, you can have 3, but at that point, just have 3. Why would you have that line? But you can have like 10, and I think this will just look crazy. Oh, never mind. It looks whatever. Well, there's this little piece floating in the air, but you get the point. So those are the three ways you can pattern things. Um, Alright, let's just go over the mirror command. Same thing, you select the thing that you want to mirror. Let me get rid of the sketch. Again, I'm about to do something that you shouldn't do. I'm clicking sketch and I'm deleting it just carelessly. But if you build something that's dependent upon that sketch, it's going to delete everything that's dependent upon that sketch. So be very careful when you do these things. You've been warned. So let's select this feature again, and this time we're going to mirror it. And as you would imagine, you should kind of be getting hang of things by now, and it's going to ask you, well, what do you want to mirror this across? And we can just select this, or we could select that. Can we select both? No, we can't. Alright, so we can just select one of them, and then there we go. And then we can select both of them and then mirror them across the horizontal, and there we go. That's, if you're making holes in a plate that you want to use as a mounting plate for some equipment, it's a nice feature if it's symmetrical. You don't have to use the pattern command for that, because if the dimensions are the same from the edges on all the corners, you can just use this and it's nice and quick. That's that for now. We won't really go over too much more. I think this is at this point you should be comfortable with modeling things fairly easily. You should get some more practice, because I'm just showing simple examples. But I think you have all the tools you need to just do part modeling. From basic to intermediate level, if you explore these tools a bit more. But yeah.